There's this little thing that happens all the time in Sri Lanka, something we've all experienced. Someone tells you, I'll call you back, and then nothing. It's just a small, everyday frustration, right? Or is it? What if this tiny habit is actually a symptom of a much, much bigger problem? Well, that's what we're going to get into today.
I mean, come on, we've all been there, haven't we? You get that classic, hey, I'll call you right back, and you actually believe them. So you wait. You check your phone, an hour passes, then the whole afternoon. It's such a simple promise, but when it's broken, man, is it frustrating.
So, okay, let's just park on that feeling for a second, because this really isn't about one person forgetting to call back, or even two. No, we're talking about a pattern here. A pattern that's so common it's almost become, well, normal in our professional lives and even with our friends. And it's right there in that moment when you're just waiting that the questions start popping into your head. You start thinking, are they really that busy? Like, is everyone just completely swamped? Or is there something else at play here? Because let's be honest, this broken promise, it does way more than just waste your time. It really starts to eat away at your patience, and maybe even more importantly, it chips away at your trust. And that question right there, it leads us to a pretty powerful idea. What if this isn't just about being forgetful? What if it's actually a performance, a deliberate act to create this image that you're just so important, so indispensable? Okay, check this out. Let's look at some real-life examples to see what this looks like. First up, you've got what we'll call the lawyer's lag. You ask a simple question, and it takes multiple, reminders over 2 whole days just to get a promise of a callback. A promise that, you guessed it, never happens. Then you've got the friend's fortitude. Even a close friend needs 2 pokes over 2 days for a simple call. And finally, the hotelier's decline. Your message is seen, your direct call is flat out rejected, and that promise to call back? Poof, gone again. So there's actually a name for this whole act. It's called creating a persona of importance. It's basically when someone intentionally tries to build this image of themselves as being so critical, so in demand, that they're just, too important to be reached easily. The whole point is to make themselves seem incredibly busy and sought after. And this is the absolute key right here. It's not actually about being busy. It's about performing busyness. It's an act, and it's a hollow one, frankly, that shows zero respect for the time, the energy, and just the plain old mental space of the person waiting on the other side. Okay, so right now you might be thinking, all right, it's annoying. I get it. But what happens when you take this personal pet peeve and scale it up? What happens when it becomes a nationwide habit? Well, that's when it starts to have a massive hidden cost for the whole country. And this really puts it all into perspective. The source material asks this incredibly blunt question. I mean, just read that. Think about it for a second. Could this tiny little habit, this seemingly harmless thing of not calling people back, could it actually be one of the things holding us back as a nation? There's a fantastic term for this, a cultural tax. And it's perfect, isn't it? It's this tax we all end up paying, not with money, but with our time, with lost trust, with terrible efficiency. And it's not a tax from the government. It's a tax we impose on ourselves through a bad cultural habit. So what does this tax really cost us in the end? Well, for starters, business deals and transactions just grind to a halt because nobody follows up. Trust gets completely worn down with every single broken promise, which makes it harder to work together on anything. And our national productivity? It takes a nosedive because think of all the hours wasted just chasing people down for a simple answer. It's literally a roadblock to progress that we've put in front of ourselves. All right, so all of this really brings us to a pretty fundamental choice, doesn't it? It's a choice about who we want to be as individuals and, yeah, what kind of country we really want to build. At the end of the day, it's all about the image we decide to project to the world and to each other. And really, it boils down to this. On one hand, you've got the illusion, this desperate attempt to look so important that you're unreachable. But on the other hand, you have the reality of what actually makes you successful, being seen as someone who is valuable and, crucially, reliable. One is just an act. The other, well, that's character. So, yeah, that's the final question we have to ask ourselves, isn't it? Is that little ego boost you get from pretending to be too busy, is it really worth the damage it does in the long run? To our relationships, to our businesses, and to the potential of our entire country? Because it is a choice. The image we project is a choice. So, which one are we going to choose? For ourselves and for Sri Lanka?